This is gonna be fun. No stuffiness. No. So Chris, just like, don't just turn it off.
Turn
Turn
what
off
off?
the Turn off the switch of professionalism.
What?
You
What?
too professional.
Too
What have I been
professional.
doing? I just got here and I'm
Yeah.
already
Yeah,
getting
Nelly's
hit.
not feeling good, so we got to really carry for her today, okay?
Girl.
Oh, did it
It
get you
was
finally?
it was a rough night. I
Hmm.
was with the Vicks Vapor Rub all over me. So,
How
but
did you say? How did what's the
Vaporu. My mom calls this
Vaporu?
Vaporu. You know what? Okay, for actually hilarious story about Vaporu. I my whole life didn't realize that Vicks Vapor Rub was the same thing as Vaporu because because my mom growing up, she would always say Vaporu, Vaporu. She would put it on us, and I just thought, oh, there's Vaporu. When I got to college, all my friends would be like, oh yeah, Vicks Vapor Rub, and I'm like, no, no, you need to try Vaporu, and they're like, you're just saying Vapor Rub in Spanish, and I'm like, no, no, oh, wait,
Oh
is it the
yeah.
same thing?
Wait. I have a similar story is that when I first met my husband's family, his extended family in DR,
Yeah.
I don't know, they live on this block where everyone's got like a huge like steel fence in front of their house and a
Mm-hmm.
pit bull, like and a dog.
Mm-hmm.
And like a very scary dog. And anyway, his mom was like, "Oh, this is our dog. His name is People, People, People." And I was like, "Oh, People's such a unique name." And then later, my husband, we probably know, my husband was like, "Mandy, it's just he's just saying pit bull, but with a Spanish inflection." And I'm like, "Oh." I was
Oh,
like, "Oh, she really loves
people,
this dog called the People. No, people."
people. Oh God, that's
Vaporu.
hilarious.
Well, that just shows. I'm glad you never had to go pay for it yourself at like CVS because they would have been like, "I'm
No,
sorry, what?
girl, no. My mom
Vaporu?"
had bottles on bottles, a lifetime supply. We never had
Yeah,
to buy anymore.
they'll inject that into you. Got to be careful.
Seriously. Oh no,
Side
my mom
effects.
used to put it in the back of my throat when I had a cough. You said you're not
Yeah.
Wait,
supposed to put it in your mouth. That she would slather it all on my
No, no,
tonsils and
no.
throat.
You're
what?
not. But there's a special label for people of color, and it's hidden. And on my family's label, because my aunt Brenda literally less than 2 years ago told me, you take a teaspoon of vapor rub and
No,
you put sugar on top
no, come
Yup.
on.
Yup.
and you heat it up like a little. I was like
Yup.
heroin, like
That's what I'm
over.
talking.
This is not the first time I'm hearing that, unfortunately.
And you drink it. You do,
Yep.
and it.
No, come
Yep.
on.
Slurp it
And
up.
no, I did not. I did not do that.
Mm,
That's when, see, Chris,
Mm.
that's what
mm-mm.
happens when you are born of Southern heritage, but they move you to the West Coast because, like,
And
you
then you
don't really
marry a
get that.
Dominican.
Yeah.
That is, that is. I've never in my life I've been like, let me get a little sip of this vapor rub.
Yes, yes. Yep. With a
Well, if you're,
Q-tip, it goes in your throat, in your nostrils,
mhm.
in your ears. I mean, literally, my mom would put it every single nook, cranny, and crevice that needed to get vapor.
I mean, the way that copays are really adding up, you know what I mean? Like, it's nice to have a little alternative. So, no shade.
Mhm.
Thank you, mamas and aunties, for risking your life.
Risking
All
your
right.
child's
And our
life.
lives,
And
exactly.
our life. All right, cool. Okay, let's jump on and I love when I prepare for shows and then I just never look at my notes ever. All right.
It happens.
Hey BA fam, welcome. It's 2025. I don't know what it is about 2025, but it just smells like money. It just smells like money and possibilities and I could not be more excited about this new chapter. Well, that's a damn lie. About a week ago, that like the dark period in between Christmas and New Year and going back to work when like I don't know, you're just like you feel shitty because you've been eating way too many cookies and watching way too much trash TV and the kids are running all over and you do not even know who you are anymore. Except you know for sure you're like a pile of trash. And during that little time, I was worried. I was like, wait, we've been talking about this new era for Brown Ambition for 3 months, 4 months now, and now I'm actually in it. And I'm like, oh dang, I gotta show up and carry this show on. But I have this saying that you can do hard things, and that's true, but you don't have to do them alone. And I just think this is so I'm just like proud of me for not going into this new chapter alone and for inviting two of my favorite people on the internet streets and IRL to join me. And BA fam, we're testing out this little new thing. And I want BA fam, I want y'all to tell me how you like it. We got a dude in the stewed. Like that never happens. Do we care what Chris thinks? Do you like the sound of his voice? Like, do you want to hear from him? I don't know. We're gonna test it out. I don't know, Chris. I don't know if we care. I don't know. I don't know if we want the male
Mm.
perspective, but we'll find out. We'll see how we feel.
We'll find out for
But
sure.
we have two incredible co-hosts today. We got Yanely Espinal, Miss Be Helpful, and we have Chris Browning of Popcorn Finance, and my brother from another mother. And welcome to Brown Ambition, y'all. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I'm really happy you haven't changed because you were insulting me last year. Now you insulted me in 2025. I appreciate it.
And will continue.
Continue.
It's my love language. Yanely, you'll know that I love you a lot. No, I won't mess with Yanely. She's just you're too perfect.
Oh, don't gas me up now.
All right, 2025 is here. How are y'all feeling? How was the holiday?
It was good. I had like some, I don't know, I just feel like I had so much going on and I forced myself to really take the break. Like I was not checking emails. I was not looking. I was like, nope, I'm not
Girl, I
doing
know because you didn't respond to mine until like
I was
yesterday.
till yesterday because I was like, you know what? I'm really not gonna do it. Like I promised
That's
myself,
fine.
and I didn't. I didn't. I did a little posting on social media, but that was it. I was like, I'm not
Mm,
checking emails. I'm not taking phone calls. I'm not jumping on Zoom. And it was just so nice, you know, because like that's what the break is supposed to be. But we be pushing ourselves. I don't. I push myself to work all the time. I feel like if I'm resting, I'm not being productive, and I did not fall for that trap. I was really resting and I was a little sick, but I got recovered through it pretty quickly. So I feel like I'm glad that I'm like bouncing back now that I had the chance to actually rest.
I'm happy
Mm.
for you because y'all are gonna
Thank
get to know
you.
Yaneli, but you're such a burst of sunshine and like energy. And
Yes.
when I meet people like you, I'm like, ooh, I hope she plugs herself in and like really recharges
Hmm.
because it's not easy to be that,
It's not. But I
right?
gotta say, you know what I gotta say? People ask me all the time, like, "Girl, what do you do? Like, do you drink coffee?" And I don't. I don't drink coffee. I genuinely just wake up in the morning with so much freaking energy and like excitement for the day. And it's funny because my
Yeah.
boyfriend is extremely introverted and quiet and calm, and so he wakes up in the morning and he's just like, "I need like."
How does he deal?
5 minutes and I'll wake up and I'm like, babe, I gotta tell you about this crazy dream I just had. Oh my goodness. He's like, I just need 5 minutes. Five
What?
minutes, please. And I'm like, no, I gotta tell you right now, otherwise I'm gonna forget. So we're just like total opposites in that way. But no, girl, my
Yeah.
energy is always on 100.
Yeah, but you do need some time to give back to yourself and like recharge.
Definitely.
And for
Definitely.
those who may not be familiar with you, Yaneli, you've both been guests on the show before, but Yaneli, remind BA
Yeah.
fam quickly like who you are and what your POV is in the work that you do with personal
Yeah,
finance.
of course. So, I mean, I'm honored, first of all, to be on here with y'all both because I've been watching y'all for years and love y'all. But I started a YouTube channel in 2015, so 10 whole years ago now. Just as like a little hobby thing, like on the side. I was really not happy at my job, my full time job that I had, and so YouTube was just like an outlet for me to like go home and have fun and like put myself out there. So I was on a debt repayment journey. I paid off $20,000 of credit card debt. I was a teacher at the time. I transitioned my career over to financial education and became a full time financial educator, working with a nonprofit that basically promotes financial literacy in schools and specifically trying to get every high school in America to guarantee, to like make sure that every single student gets access to a full semester course about personal finance before they graduate. And
Mm.
so, yeah, I've continued to do that. I'm in a part time role now. So, on the side of that, I'm doing Miss Be Helpful as well, which is my social media platform brand and speaking. And then, of course, in 2023, I published my book, Mind Your Money, which was like a massive
Yes,
project. Mandy, I know
it
you're in the thick of it
was.
now. You're in the thick of it now, but I'm really glad it's over and just, yeah, excited to be pushing that out and making sure that people have relatable voices to
Mm.
hear talking about money and all things finance.
And you're just living like the Dinks life, dual income, no
Yes.
kids in
Yep.
Miami.
Yep.
They're both so hot. Like you and your husband are just like,
Oh,
it's just
thank
so
you.
pretty. It's very
Girl, don't gas
frustrating.
me up now.
I know you don't need any gas, but
I know.
let me
Don't
give
be
you a little
making my head
something.
any bigger. Yes, I
Wait,
live.
so what's your
I'm
background? You're
from.
from New York though, right?
I'm from Brooklyn originally. Yep, I
Okay.
spent my whole life in Brooklyn, and then I spent 4 years in Providence for college, and then we were back in New York, New Jersey area for like through COVID, and things were just so rough. It was so cold. We couldn't go outside, and I was just like, you know what? We should move somewhere sunny. And so both of us work for California-based companies. We were going to go to San Francisco, or come to Miami, and then we're like, you know what? Let's just stay on the East Coast just in case we don't like the move. And so we ended up
Mm.
choosing Miami. We've been here for 3 years, and we like it.
Oh, okay. That was smart.
It's
Smart to
cute.
get out. See, that's what you want when you don't have those kids, like strapped to your feet. It's great.
Girl,
Y'all, people think I
yes.
probably like regret. I don't regret my children. I just
No, but you
recognize
understand the reality. Like,
I
look, I
recognize
love
the other
parents who
side of
keep
the
it real.
mirror.
Yeah, and I love parents to keep it real. I really am
Mhm.
not about the like let's fake and pretend everything's always perfect. Sometimes it's perfect and sometimes it's not, and like just be real about it. So I'm sure
Sure.
that there's definitely moments where I'm like, dang, it would have been so interesting to like have chosen the route of being a parent around my age, and then I'm like, but then again,
Yeah.
there's always like the good and the bad.
Oh man, I guess I'll let this dude talk.
Well, I mean, I don't have to. It's just like I'm listening to a podcast where I get to be on camera for some reason. You know, it's
Oh,
okay.
Chris. No, I truly like. I love you, bud. How's it going?
Mm,
Hey,
Popcorn fine.
Chris.
you know,
I really do. I'm a
I
fan.
honestly forgot I was on the show. I was like, man, this is a really good episode, Brown Ambition.
Just tuning
Yes.
in.
Anyway, yeah, Nelly, about your journey to not have children. Okay. Chris, tell the folks about popcorn finance and what all you do that's so important in this world.
When I'm not just enjoying listening to these two people talk, I do a show called Popcorn Finance, a short form podcast. I've been doing it for about 7 years. Yanely, I didn't know. I've been watching Yanely and do all of her amazing stuff for so long. I didn't know that you've been doing it for 10 years on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Mm.
Hopefully one day I'll
So
get
she's
to your
like
level.
22. It's
No,
crazy. We needed the youth vote. So I brought
Was when I
in.
started.
just a baby when you started.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I started the show just for fun. It was like kind of like you know, I was like, I kind of wanted to try it out. I was like, look, I'll do this podcast thing, see how it works out. I did the first 10 episodes in the front seat of my car on my phone, just with a notebook on my lunch breaks. And it kind of just organically kept growing. And I decided to keep doing it, even though I wanted to quit a bunch of times. And it kind of turned
Mhm.
into this really fun career that I didn't expect that I'd be doing at all. I was working as a bookkeeper and then a financial analyst. And I eventually left my day job 3 years ago at this point now to do this full
Mhm.
time. So I do the podcast, I do some writing for Men's Health, I'll do some stuff on the news, some random stuff on video when I get a chance to. Just it's turned into a really fun way of teaching something that I think a lot of people need to know about. A lot of people feel really scared and uncomfortable to talk about. So I hope
Yeah.
that I'm helping people out feel a little more comfortable, a little less scared when it comes to talking about money. But yeah, just it's been a good run doing popcorn finance for all this time.
I love how
Love
different we
it.
all are. So I'm suburban mom, trying not to be in this, with my children. Yeah, Nelly, single Pringle, not single, with your are you guys married? Partner?
No,
Whatever.
long term partners. Yeah.
Long-term partner. So you're partnered in Miami. And then Chris, are you single Pringle? What's going on in your life? What's your home life situation like?
What's my home life
This is a
situation?
setup.
I knew it. I knew it. I've been waiting for this day because I was like, Mandy's gonna jump right into it. She's gonna give me 3.5 seconds to act like she's
Yeah.
not gonna ask me this question.
If I'm gonna have a dude in the stew, let me just go
I
ahead and
mean, we need the
ask the
deets.
question BA fan wants to know. I was like,
Hello.
your beard connects. You're not terribly unfortunate to look at, and you are a nice dude. So just let the ladies know what's going on.
Uh, I am well, I was married for a long time, single as of last year. Mandy, no, Mandy's acting like she doesn't know my story. She knows what's going
I
on. She
haven't
knows
talked to you in
my
a couple of weeks. Things could change.
she knows my whole story.
It's a fluid
Uh,
situation in your love life.
it is, but I did recently start seeing someone
Oh.
for her and then for what I was gonna
We're
say
going podcast
anonymity.
official. Don't say
Yeah,
her name yet.
I'm not. No, no, no. She was like, "Don't say my name."
Yeah.
She's like, you don't need. She's like, I don't need people coming for me. Just keep. You can just keep me to the side. Keep me to the
Wait, wait,
side.
wait, 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 wait. I don't know if we're like, I don't know if it's like one of the boy band people, like when Harry Styles starts dating someone and his fans like attack the other person. I don't think this is like,
No.
I just want to bring you down to earth.
Oh
Just
no,
be
no,
clear.
no.
I don't
I
Oh
think
didn't say.
people will be
no.
that.
I didn't say this. These are not my
She,
words.
right. She said it.
She
Said
said
it.
it.
Chris,
said
I
it.
got your back. She said it, not
Oh,
you.
she
I
here's the BA fam. I don't know if she
No, no,
used
no, no.
to.
In general, she was like, because she's a very private person. She's not really on social media like that. So I was like, I
Yeah.
get it. It's like, look, no one's gonna care. No one cares about me like that. You'll be fine. But she was like, it's fine. You don't feel, you don't have to. So
Can't relate
I'll call her
at
B for
all.
now. Just keep it short. B is very new. Been a couple months dating, but
Nice.
it's been nice. Been a really great
Happy for
person.
you.
Yeah,
I
thank you.
am
I'm
so
glad that I
happy for
had
you.
enough time being single Chris's friend and like being aware of it to give you all kinds of funny, useless dating advice, and tease you about it. But now that you're booed up, all right, it's fine. The man taken for now, y'all.
For now.
Okay, so what's y'all's superpower? So Yaneli, Chris, I'm the negotiation queen. Tiffany was always our business baddie. Now I'm kind of holding up we're all business baddies here. But like, what do you love talking about? What's your favorite thing to coach people in? What do people come to you
Mm.
for?
Mm.
Ooh,
Yaneli, you go
this.
first.
So for me, it's really much it's very very much rooted in the beginner stuff around money. Like I target younger professionals, so like you're fresh out of college and you're just starting to wrap your mind around money. You don't have a budget. You probably have some debt you need to repay. You are just trying to figure out what the heck is a credit score and what is yours. Just like I'm a really good intro into money.
Mm.
And then the other piece I would say, like I love to talk about for hours and hours and hours, is just financial literacy education in the school system, why we don't have it, why we need it, more of it, and really dedicated my career to making sure that it is in schools. Because I used to be a teacher, and I just remember thinking, like, how is it possible that when I was sitting in the student seat, I never got taught financial literacy? And then now I'm a teacher, I'm at the front of the classroom, and I still don't see any financial literacy in the curriculum. When the hell is this going to change? So, yeah, I mean, I would say those are my two things, like coming in,
Mm.
intro, very much like guide to money 101, and then also financial education in schools.
Awesome. All right, Chris.
Ooh, I say for me, I think the thing that I feel like I handle well, that I do the best, is I really like learning about really complicated things and then trying my best to break it down and make it as simple as possible. I think
Mm.
there's too many people who like to sound real smart by using a bunch of big words, making stuff sound so complicated, you got no idea what they're talking about. And to me, that
Mhm.
just helps nobody. Like, I don't care if anyone thinks that I'm the smartest person in the room. If I can at least make something sound simple and understandable to people, that's the whole point, right? Because we all
Right.
want to understand this, and we all just feel scared and intimidated when people just throw a bunch of stuff at us that makes no sense at all.
Wait,
So
so
for
what's
me,
one
that's
topic that
right.
you love to just like, you're just like that guy at the cookout where it's like, Jesus Christ, here comes Chris. I'm going to talk about insurance policies. What's your thing?
Oh,
What do
I
you love
hope
to
it's
nerd
not
out with?
insurance policy.
No, it is not insurance policies. No, I hope I'm not that person. Like, don't get me started on talking about like the
No
Federal
shade to the
Reserve.
insurance people who love
And
insurance. Like, you
yeah,
look,
yeah, no.
What did you just
just
say
say it.
in
We,
your boys to men voice? What was that?
I
I
was
heard
like,
Federal Reserve.
don't get me started on the Federal Reserve. That's so I love talking about, like, reading about it, talking about it, interest rates,
The Fed.
inflation, all
Okay.
that
Okay,
stuff.
so
Like,
like more economic and how that affects your personal finances.
oh yeah, because it's fascinating. It's
Okay.
so broad and it's so
Yeah.
complicated, it's ridiculously complicated. But when I can find a little piece and I understand it, I love just like
Oh,
just digging into it and talking about it more.
that is such a good
Okay.
segue for one of the first things I wanted to talk about, which is Beyonce Bowl. Did you guys watch the Beyonce halftime show?
Mm-hmm.
Duh. Who did not watch it?
Yeah.
And why not? That's what I want to know.
How many times have you watched it? Because I
Oh
like
my
to
goodness.
prescribe myself twice a day.
A
Like once when
day.
I'm getting ready and like once when the
I
kids come home because they
Mm.
like it.
It,
haven't watched it that many times, but
no.
I've definitely seen it at least two times full, and then so many clips and replays on social media
Yeah.
that I feel like I done seen it 10 times at this point now because of all the little clips on social. But honestly, she killed it. It was amazing. I could watch it 10 times and be fine. I would have no problems watching it twice a day. Like, it was amazing. She's so incredible. And like, if anybody
Correct
does
answer.
not believe
A
she is
plus.
the best entrepreneur and entrepreneurial performer of our time,
Mm.
like, you're bugging, you're tripping. Go take a
Yeah.
break, go sit
Yeah.
down somewhere.
And why was it was so crisp? I was like, this is putting every
Yes.
Super Bowl halftime
Oh,
show I seen to shame. I was like, this is a
yeah.
random game in the middle of the year on
I
Netflix.
know,
And then I
right?
was like, this is 8K or something. It was like the blew everything else out the water.
I could not tell you who played the game. I
No,
couldn't tell you.
Didn't
I
even
have no
matter.
idea. I have no
I
idea. I
didn't
was
know. It was in
actually, we were,
Texas. I knew that.
I knew it was in Texas. I knew
Yeah.
that, but my family, it was Christmas Day because usually in a lot of Latin American countries, you celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve,
Mm-hmm.
Noche Buena. So
Noche
my
buena.
family celebrates Noche Buena, but there's so many of us. So like, I have so many siblings, like trying to get everybody together on the day of the holiday, it's not going to work, right? With their schedules. So we always say, like, celebrate the actual holiday, Noche Buena, with like your husbands, your wives, your kids, your partners. And then on Christmas Day, we all come together. So
Mm.
we were together on Christmas Day, and I'm like, we're having our little drinks, our coquito, our poncho, whatever and all of a sudden my sister goes, "Oh my God, Beyonce's live! Beyonce's on!" And I drop everything. I dropped stuff on the table, just ran over to the other room, and everybody
Yeah.
quiets down, and we're just like stuck to the
Mm-hmm.
screen. Like, this was so amazing.
The
Everybody
appropriate
just,
reaction.
yes. Oh my goodness. And then afterwards, when you see the clips on social, you get to see the behind the scenes, the working of it. And
Yeah.
then it's
I've
just
watched so many
even
of
more.
those.
Oh my goodness. Like, now I'm even more in awe because I
Yeah.
saw her like walking ahead to go get her little water, take her little quick break, and then jump right back in. And
Yeah.
the back behind the scenes stuff. I mean, talk about like art and genius. Like, that was just so brilliant. I love watching those behind the scenes clips.
Mm.
Chris, your thoughts?
Greatest live performer of all time. I mean, she might be up there. I mean, I guess, yeah, put Michael Jackson up there, of
Oh,
course. I mean,
correct. You guys are
For
acing
sure.
this.
but I mean, to be that perfect and crisp. Like, no, she's walking up and down. To me,
Crisp.
when someone's walking downstairs on a performance, I'm
Right.
always like, but
Yeah.
she shouldn't stumble, shouldn't
No,
trip, shouldn't
no,
mess up.
no.
And it's just, that if she's out there, she's put in so many hours. And you know that if anyone back behind her is dancing or doing something, they had to put in a bunch of hours. So she's not gonna let anybody just be up there behind her making her look bad. It
Mm,
was on. I mean, and it was the fact that it was like she was on a horses, you got cars, you got this band coming through. It was
yeah.
I was blown away. I
I
remember
should have
because my
stuck with the
family,
clarinet.
what
Yup.
I
everything.
could have been on that field. I could have been at homecoming, Coachella, Baychella.
Oh, you could have. You
Come
could.
on,
Uh,
Maddie.
No, but you know what? Actually, I saw somebody on Threads say that she took up the entire field so much to the
Yes.
point where like forward in the field, back in the field, the left side of the field, the right side of the field. The only space that she didn't really take up was above, up, and then at the very end,
Mm.
she rose up into, and it was like, oh, she did that too. Damn,
because no matter
damn.
what, Beyonce is gonna fly. There's one thing,
Yes.
homegirl. She gonna get on a silver horse at
Get
her
on
tour,
up.
or is she gonna get on
Yes.
a platform?
Yes. Yes.
Mwah.
And
So
she
that
killed
was
that.
like one of the things that really colored the and Yanely, you said the entrepreneurial thing. I just got to say one thing because I know that when it comes to Beyonce stands, like people are kind of sick of us just talking about how amazing she is.
For
However,
real.
the power that woman has to make you feel like you can do anything, and she's not even in our space, like she's just on the TV.
Yup.
But the way that I was like, I can write this book, and like I'm gonna do this challenge that I wanted to launch at the beginning of the year. I'm gonna get that shit done because she just makes you, it's just magical.
Yes.
Thank
She
God
gets
for her.
in your
She's just like
bones.
the antidote, I
Yes.
feel like, to women of color, just like Black women, especially, just a walking, living,
Mhm.
breathing love letter.
Yes,
And I
and
love
it's
it.
true. She gets in your bones, and it's not something recent. Like I remember college days, even before college, probably like back when DVDs was like a thing. I had the DVD for the Beyonce Experience,
Oh,
and let me tell you that live performance.
I need
Oh
to get
my
this.
good.
What is this DVD? What is this?
It's just it was a live DVD of her performance of the Beyonce Experience. Um,
Oh,
incredible. Like when she
see,
did
kids
the
get everything today. They get
she,
YouTube and TikTok clips, and like I'm
yes.
finding out things I missed from like 15 years
Yes.
ago.
Oh, but I bet if you go on YouTube and just type in the Beyonce Experience live, like you'll be
Mm-hmm.
able to see the whole thing. It's like a 2 hour, 2.5 hour DVD. I had that
Yeah.
DVD. I would just play that thing over and over again and again. Like she gets in your bones. I would be like, I can do anything. I can do
Yeah.
like, and she just makes you feel like that. And it just is so incredible. It's one of the things that so few performers on this planet have mastered in the way that she has. And I talk to students a lot about Beyonce as an entrepreneur because people love to talk about, oh,
Mm-hmm.
but the singing and the dancing and da da da. And it's like, listen, don't sleep on the fact that she took that Beachella performance and turned it into from a $4 million performance, which people were like shocked that was so low for her. She usually charges way more than that for a live performance. She charged $4 million to perform at Coachella because there was a clause in the contract that said that she would get exclusive rights to all of the footage of the Coachella performances on both weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And what did she go ahead and do? Turn right around and sell that footage to Netflix for $60 million.
Mm.
So, if people don't understand the entrepreneurial stuff happening behind, and of course, she has a team and she has her people, and it's not like she's doing this all by herself, but still, for somebody to say anything that about that is just to me, I don't understand. Like, it's to
Yeah.
me incredible in so many different spaces, right? The singing, the dancing, the artistry, the video, the digital stuff, but the entrepreneurship, like, we can't deny that.
Mm.
Mm. See, look, Mandy, I'm gonna make you feel bad because I'm gonna give you a compliment since you've been insulting me all day.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
when I
Try.
when I see Mandy, right, you have such a great mind, right? Because there's so many people who are talented, like you're saying, like Beyonce, very talented, obviously extremely talented. Mandy, very talented, but you have to also have the mind to turn that into something, right? Because I've seen so many people who are good at something who is just a gift. They enjoy it, people enjoy it, but it's like they don't have that ability to turn that into something.
Yes.
And I think
Mm.
that's what separates Beyonce from a lot of other people. And Mandy, when I see you, you are always thinking about something. You always got something turning in your mind. You always got an idea, and that's what
You
separates you
sound
from
so
other people.
shady.
That was a
I get it from my
compliment.
dad, honestly. I had to come to Jesus moment where I'm like, I am my father. My father was a used car salesman. He could sell ice to a Eskimo. Wait, we don't use that phrase anymore. He could sell a bottle of water to a fountain, whatever. He is a great salesman, and he's also like he repels traditional work. Like he just repels having a boss and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Anyway, well, thank you. I appreciate that. But I really believe in that. I was thinking about sort of like 2025 and looking ahead and trying to not make traditional resolutions, but just I did think about like a a vibe or like a tone I wanted to go into this year with and like make
Yeah.
decisions through. Because I think I kind of lost, like, financially, I've been pretty like transparent about some of the financial struggles that I've had because I've been writing this book and taking my foot off the business gas and like,
Right.
trying to pause things so that I can sow some seeds or plant some seeds or whatnot. Anyway, and I feel like some of the choices I was making financially this year were just not as tied to my values and to what I enjoy as much. And I think as a
Right.
parent, like, you do find yourself giving so much for the children and for like what would make them happy. And I'm hoping in 2025, I just want to go back to a space of like really, making financial moves through the lens of like what my values are. And of course, like the kids are there, but like long term values of like us being free to spend lots of time with them when they are older and like being available to help them and be part of their
Mhm.
community when they are,
Yep.
starting their own families or traveling. And like, I want to be free for them later and like so and creating like experiences with them versus like buying stuff. And I'm
Yeah.
trying to bring, so basically like trying to be a lot more selective with how I'm spending my money and reminding myself of that long. I was so good about this before I had kids. I was
Mm.
always thinking about old Mandy and like saving for retirement and for my early retirement, and like that just kind of got lost. And we need to get back to that in
Mhm.
2025. And the other thing is just that community thing and how,
Mm.
like you mentioned with Beyonce, Yanely, and I think, I mean, another thing that we have me and Beyonce have in common because we are, like you said,
I should have never
Chris, like
started
you
this.
said, which I will quote, I am just like Beyonce and that I have an incredible mind. Exactly. Also, I believe in community so much, and it's one of the hardest things to like cultivate for ourselves at a certain point, like
Yep.
especially in our 30s, 20s, 30s, 40s, like cultivate a community to support you through like rough patches. So
Yeah.
Mm.
that is the vibe I'm carrying into 2025. Do you guys have like a financial, do you do the resolutions? Like, what do you feel like BA fam needs to hear as far as like financial goals, career goals that they may have heading into this year?
Mm.
Anyone?
Well,
I was gonna let
Chris,
Chris
you
oh
go
go.
wait,
first.
Nelly, good.
No, go for it, Chris. I want to hear yours.
Oh, well, you're gonna be disappointed about my answer. I was gonna say I'm not really great at making resolutions because I
Oh,
feel
I'm
like I make
surprised.
them, and by February I already forgot whatever it was I said I was gonna do.
See, you don't
Uh,
have accountability.
no, but
That's the problem.
I did start doing like an accountability group with a couple of friends where we'll get together and we'll talk about like like on a monthly basis some things that we want to accomplish, and then we'll meet and we'll work together like on a Zoom call for a couple of hours every
Mhm.
week just to kind of like make sure we're all doing something and kind of check in with each other because I need that. If someone doesn't ask me if I'm doing what I said I was going to do, I'm probably
Mm,
not going to do it.
Mhm.
I
So
love
I
that. Like just
right.
two people, right? Nothing crazy.
Yeah, very small, two people, very informal. We get in, we chat a little bit. Like this is a good way to stay in contact with friends too. But then
True.
also we work together, and it kind of makes us all feel motivated because when you see somebody else working, it makes you want to do something. You're like, well, I don't want to be left behind.
Yep.
And we actually have a meeting next week. We'll do our first one of the year where we're going to go through and talk through what we want to do for the year. And even if we try to keep it small, like do like a month at a time, like a plan, but we're also going to maybe have like a handful of things that we want to do for 2025. And I think it's
Hmm.
making me think about it now. I'm ready for next week, but also it's like I'm looking forward to it versus normally I throw together some really weak resolutions that I'm not going to care about in a couple of months. So yeah, that's what I'm doing this
Yeah.
year.
I think as a
Mhm.
guy, like I want more guys to be finding that community for themselves. Like, I don't know if that's something that just like comes, are you just more of a connector like that? Because I just feel like older, especially when you're older as a man, and I'm not trying to speak for an entire gender, but as women do, I can give you some highlights of my opinion. But like there is this like loneliness and the other day, one of my guy friends was like, I kind of feel like I almost forgot how to be a friend when there wasn't the structure of like school or a
Mhm.
Mm.
common workplace. And
Mhm.
anyway, so I love that you said that. I'm just wondering what your take is on like just guys in general finding those connections if they feel like they've lost them.
I remember Mandy asked me this when I came and helped you and Tiffany with the Brown Ambition live show last year. You
Yeah.
came, you were like, Chris, I hear men are really lonely. I'm like, what?
Did I say that?
That sounds like Mandy would say that.
And I was like, I guess, but I will
Are
say
you
this.
sad, Chris?
I'm a little sad. But I was just talking to someone because these two people I do the accountability thing with, they're women. So, and I've told them
Oh, okay, okay. You
men
do have
are
a lot of girlfriends. I said that was pretty sus.
you. Yeah, look,
Yeah.
I got an equal divide. I think it's probably 50-50 men and women who I'm friends
Okay.
with. But what I find
Right.
is that men, with the friendships I have with men, a lot of them are like long ones who I've known since I was like really young. Even these people I've known for decades. A lot of times it stays very surface level. Like you talk about
Mm,
like what you're doing in the moment, maybe sports, maybe a movie. Like it's you don't dive deep into emotions. Where I find
mm,
oftentimes my friendships with women are more fulfilling because they're gonna be like, well, how are you really doing? And my guy friends almost
Yeah.
never ask me that question because you're almost like, I don't want to bug them. We don't need to get into that. So you end up with these very light interactions with men and more deep conversations with women, I find. And
Mm.
I think that's probably why it leads to the male kind of loneliness epidemic they talk about. Because I think men have friends, but we oftentimes don't get into like deep stuff that you deep down want to talk about,
right.
but
Yeah.
you're not gonna be the one to bring it up. So you're just gonna like not talk about the things that are probably bothering you that you really want to talk about.
Well, we
Right.
can't be telling everybody, all the men out there, to go get some more friends who are girls because the girlfriends of wives, like some people are not cool
Oh
with
no,
that. And
no,
can,
Right.
no, go to
so
therapy.
yeah,
Oh yeah. Oh
you
yeah. Yeah.
were
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
very
Go to
evolved
therapy.
dude. But I think it's worth talking about. And I think as like just as we move through this year, having good examples of men, like I feel like we need to see more men talking to each other about those deep subjects
Mhm.
because there's something about I think talking to someone who really gets you the
Yeah.
way that women are not going to understand fully your experience like and I feel that way about my girlfriends and I just kind of like want that for guys as well.
Yeah, you gotta. I try to do with my friends. I try to like push them to talk about some things every now and then, just to get them, make them a little
Yeah.
uncomfortable, and figure out what's really going on in their head. And oftentimes they're receptive to it. It's just that we're not. It's not ingrained in us to have those type of conversations or initiate them with each other.
Well, maybe don't start talking about the Fed so much and then maybe they'll like open
Oh,
up a bit.
That'll
I'll
be
try.
nice.
It's hard though.
All right, Yanely, what about you, boo? And it's cool if you had nothing, like if you're just like, oh no, it's
You
another
know,
year, we're not doing that.
no, you know what? I was looking at my net worth and I was like, do I want to set a net worth goal? I'm so I there was an
Mm.
article written about me. Oof, I think I want to say it was maybe like 2018 around there. I don't know. Y'all can pull it up if you want, but it was from it was an article that talked about like my net worth. I was in my 20s and I had like $50,000 of savings. Now at that time, that was huge because
Mm-hmm.
my broke ass, I mean, I come from a family where like if you have $500, you rich.
Mm,
So to have $50,000, that was all mine. Like, and it was all liquid. Like it was just my cash savings. Like I had done such a good job of like just saving up the cash, saving the cash. Now a lot of it was in like a brokerage account and stuff, but that number was like a big deal to me. And then like I want to say like 3 years later, or like yeah, it was around like a year after COVID, so like 2021 ish. So maybe 3, 4 years after that article came out, I looked at my net worth and it was over 500K.
mm,
And I was like,
Mm.
whoa, like 3, 4 years ago, I had to pull together all my statements to show evidence to this article, to these people from this article that I had 50K. And now, just 3, 4 years later, we're 10x my net worth. And that was so huge to me. But I didn't necessarily set a goal to do that. I was just like, I was really on my game when it came to like my
Mm.
investments and maxing out this account and that account. Like I was really not necessarily frugal, but I was really intentional with my lifestyle so that I could put as much money towards my investment accounts. And of course, we've had a good run of the stock market for the past couple of years, so that has definitely helped. But so that was a huge accomplishment. Now this year, I looked at it again, and I'm like, do I really want to set a net worth goal? Now, the reason why I don't really want to do it is because I feel like if I do it, I'm gonna want to share it, right? And I'm gonna talk about my goals and stuff. But I'm not sure I want to share like if slash when I cross that $1 million. Like I don't know, because you know how
Mm.
there's TikTokers be like, I'm a 35-year-old millionaire on
You
TikTok.
you
And
really don't
do I
have
really need
to.
to?
yeah.
Something about the
Yeah.
internet, especially like being a financial creator, makes you feel like you got to put all your business out there all the
I'm
time.
saying,
Yeah.
and that's the pressure
Yeah.
I felt like I feel this pressure. Like I, I'm wanting, or I feel like I'm wanting to post content about, when I hit my million, when I'm so close, I'm here and this is where I am in relation. And like, but do I really want to do that? Because there's some bad apples and bad players. And I'm like, do I really
Mm.
want everybody having access to that information about
Mm.
me? So that's been my headspace more so like, do I really need to set a goal around my financial net worth? Can I just like keep tracking it the way I have been, and like when I hit my goal, kind of have my own celebration and not put it out there on blast for everybody? But
Mhm.
I mean, I everybody already knows I crossed the $500,000 mark, so
Yeah.
there's that. But again,
Yeah.
it just feels to me like we all work so hard for the million or the millions, and it's like, I'm thinking now that maybe it doesn't make sense for me to go so public with that on my platform, and to
Mm,
like, because it doesn't really matter, and it feels to me a little bit like I'm bragging to everybody that I made a million, and then why,
Mm,
versus like what I'm doing is what matters, and the strategies and like the knowledge and the books that help me
mm,
get there, and the podcasts, and that sharing resources rather than showing, like telling you my credit score doesn't do anything for you. But if I tell you what I did to improve my credit score, you can do the same and that helps you. So I'm trying to decide for my brand in general, like in the work that I'm doing, how do I push more resources and strategies and information that is actionable, and not just, flaunting these stats and figures and
mm.
numbers. So that
mm.
doesn't necessarily feel to me like it's really serving anybody but myself and my big old ego.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like building authority and trust, right? So you can show
Yeah.
like proof of concept, but I get what you're saying. And I think as creators there are no rules. I think you just do whatever you feel comfortable doing and everyone's an individual, and that's where I need to stop. Like when I go on Instagram or TikTok, I find that I just feel worse, or I'll start to
Mm,
feel like
yeah.
bad, or just like a general like malaise kind of descends
Yep.
upon me.
Yep.
And I just kind of try not to. And it's not necessarily
Yeah.
anything is so negative. It's just I start to question and think and consider other ways of doing things. And you
Right.
kind of lose sight of like, okay, what actually is grounded in who I am and what I value and like what
Hmm.
I want to put out into the world. And I think that's
Exactly.
a beautiful resolution. It's kind of like you are getting more, you are going to take, first of all, you're just going to like set your goal, of course, but not feel like you need to be blasting it. And you can always
Right.
share it later if you change your mind. And like,
Oh,
that's,
for sure. Yeah, that's, and that, I mean, it kind of goes back to the having kids thing. Like, I can't put the baby back in once it comes out.
you sure can't.
But I can always decide to push it to later, to a
Let me
certain
tell
point
you,
within reason. But
want me to draw a
yeah, to
diagram? You
me,
can't do it.
but
Mm-mm.
yeah, that to me, that's been like such a big thing. But I feel like it was important for me to like come up with a few guidelines, because we all need a little bit of direction. We can't just be walking around aimlessly. And one of the big things is like what you just said, Mandy, which is like, I don't want to be consuming and scrolling so much on social.
Mm,
So but I do enjoy it to an extent. So I put myself a 1 hour limit on my Instagram. So I'll post my content, I'll engage with, people who comment on stuff, and like go and take a look at stuff. And then I'll put a few comments on posts that I like and things. And then I'll get off. Maybe I'll go on one more time later in the day, and I'll immediately get the Instagram thing saying, you are 5 minutes away from your limit for the day. And I'm like,
mm.
dang,
Do you
how
pay
did I
attention?
already
You
hit it?
listen to it?
Oh yeah. Well,
Okay.
we
See, I'm
we
a
we
bad
we are a
girl.
few
I don't
days
even
into the
listen.
we are a few days into the year. This is a new thing for me, Mandy. So for the few days that I've been doing it, I've been
Okay.
really good so far. So
Yeah.
I've been like, let me start strong. 5 minutes away, then that means boom, I got 5 more minutes, and then I'm off. And
Mm.
what I've been doing is I will delete the Instagram app once the 5 minute comes, because I know myself, and
What?
I will, when
What?
I'm sitting,
Can you
yeah,
do that
because
without getting rid of your like profile and stuff?
you can do it with, we could do it without. The only thing you lose is if you have drafts saved.
Oh,
So like
okay.
as a creator, sometimes I'll like create posts and just save them in drafts mode. So that's the first time I tried to delete the app, it was like, if you delete the app, you're gonna get rid of all your drafts. And I was like, oh. So I just
Yeah.
started like using my drafts and stuff. And then I got to the point where now I'll just delete it. But I'm getting to a point where I feel like I have the self-control where I don't have to necessarily delete it. But it did help me the first 2 or 3 days where I was like, oh, I'm about to get back on. And then I was like, wait, no, you know what? Let
Mm.
me delete it. Cause I can't even trust myself. I'm gonna get back on here. I know myself. So,
Yeah.
for me, it's what are the systems that I need to put in place to make sure I actually hold myself accountable? Obviously, having a buddy like Chris, that's great. But if I don't have that buddy watching me, I don't have watch eyes over me. Well, then what do I have to do to make
Mm.
sure I stick to it? Because it's going to be much less likely that I'm going to get back on if I have to download the whole dang thing again. So if you're having issues with
True.
social media, even creators, because we're on there so much. And so I do
Mhm.
think for me, this big thing this year is like post more, and then do your little engagement that you want to do and enjoy that, and let it be done in 1 hour. And there's no reason why I should be doing more than an hour on Instagram a day. Like for me personally,
Just
that's my goal.
put your value out there, like add value and then take a
Yes,
step back
Mm.
exactly.
and try to
Yes.
connect more organically with your support, like your
Yeah. And then
community and stuff.
you know what it has been doing for me, at least I noticed the past couple of days, like I'm actually excited when I get my little Instagram time, because I know that it's like limited to the, like otherwise I'll be pulling up my phone whenever I'm between meetings, or
Mhm.
whenever if I
Don't even
so
know you're doing it
now.
sometimes.
Yeah. So like this morning, I woke up super early today. I woke up really early, and I went to a yoga class at 7 a.m. On my way to yoga, I like looked at my Instagram for like a few minutes. And then I was
Mm.
like, oh, let me turn it off, because if I look at it now, I'm not going to be able to go later when more people are more active. So I've turned on the daily and I listened to a podcast, like the New York Times Daily podcast. And I like was like, oh, let me get my news in, So just I'm already
Mhm.
seeing the little dividends paying of this
Mhm.
decision and like how it's making me better in other ways because I'm using my time better. Like I'm listening to the news, I'm doing these things. And that to me is like a little shift that's not necessarily has anything to do with my usage of social media, but is a benefit now how it kind of like trickles into other things, other ways I'm
Mm.
using my time and things like that. So I think I'm gonna try. I'm going to stick. I'm not trying. I'm going to
Yeah.
stick with the 1 hour a day cap.
I like it. It's also about for me the word that I kind of went into the past week was with or the past 2 weeks was execute, execute, execute. Like
I love it.
get off of the distractions and just make some shit happen. Cuz
Yes.
I was stressed. I was overwhelmed. I had this big book deadline due. I had 3 chapters that were due December 31st, I want to say. When
Yeah, I
was that?
remember you
30th,
posted
something like
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I started waking up at 4 and just getting shit done. I was like, I it's, I believe in the rest over the break, but I also really believe in this book too. And I'm like, and then I started to look forward to that time. And then one of the things that I have been thinking about doing for many years in a row is doing like some sort of challenge in January for my community for BA Fam,
Love it.
and actually creating like a structured, like contained within like a certain number of days, action based challenge where you're gonna be, and it's all about execution. Like, here's our goal each day. We're gonna have this little lesson. I'm doing this so that it's called the Career Reboot Challenge. And to even get the challenge off the ground, executing the challenge, I had to really put my mindset. I was like, put the shit down. It doesn't have to be perfect, but like
Yeah.
build it and get it out because you know that your community needs this and wants this. And you're going to have to say no to a lot of stuff. And getting into that zone is, I think, one of the biggest reasons why people are entrepreneurs and actually like execute what they say they're going to execute. And like
Yep.
why, and hey, for a couple of years now in a row I've been like, oh, I wish I would have done, but this is a year I was like, you know what, remove the distractions, put a timer on, get an accountability buddy.
Yep.
Shout out to Nikayla from Side Hustle Pro. We've been like supporting each other,
Hey.
texting, like, and I know I wouldn't have done as much as I have gotten done had I not had Nikayla to like check in with,
Yep.
cheer me on, talk me down when I started to doubt myself.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. And that it's like for perfectionists and people who are like really, high achievers or push themselves and want excellence, right? Like it's even harder because in your mind, like if it's not perfect, and for me, I'm like I have two quotes on like my work board outside where when I work at my desk. It's like one says, "Perfect is the enemy of done."
Mhm.
Hmm.
First, and second of all, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to exist. And I
Mhm.
love that quote because I'm like, every time I'm trying to strive for perfection, I prevent it from existing out there in the world because I'm not putting it out there because I'm over here trying to make it perfect and it doesn't exist because of me. It's my fault that it doesn't exist. And so, like, now I've been trying to keep telling myself that so I can stop, obsessing over these tiny little things, oh, but I could edit it a little better. Oh, I could, finish this. I can edit. It's like, no,
Yeah.
just put the thing out there. Let it exist. Give it a chance to exist.
See, that's what I struggle with. I'm always like, oh well, man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this the way I want it to be done, or oh, it could be better. I
Mhm.
think we could be our own worst critics, and I'm a horrible critic for myself, and that's why I struggle with. I needed to hear that because yeah, I'm
Are you
constantly.
you're like really self-critical?
Oh, it's ridiculous. It's pretty bad.
Really?
Again,
Oh
Okay.
another vote
no.
for therapy. Get in there, work on that stuff. But yeah,
Facts.
it's
When it comes
hard.
to your business, do you find yourself like what are you picking on yourself for?
Oh, it's always like for me, I have too high of standards for some reason of what I think what I do should look like. Like I'm a full on production company or something. Like, oh, it's got to look a certain way. It's got to be. I got to go through
Mhm.
several iterations of a script to really nail it down. Oh, this was an interesting. This was boring. I'm over before I even attempt to make it. I've already shot
Mhm.
it down because
Right.
it's this the amount of time I would need to get this to be what it needs to be is it's ridiculous. So
Like
I'm
for your
just
podcast?
oh yeah for the podcast.
Okay.
I've been want to do more YouTube,
Yep.
be more consistent on social media, and I'm always like, I
Hmm.
just like cut myself down before I even get there because I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not gonna be good enough. And
Yeah,
even though I've
you
been
you
doing it
over
for so long,
critique it. You over
yeah,
critique it. Like
Yeah.
critiquing is fine. Let's not look. We all need to look at our work and give it a fair critique. Like, all right, let
yeah,
me be real. Like this could be a little better. But a little better is different from I need to do this here, this there, that. Like it's too much, you know. And for
Mm.
me, at least, I needed that quote. If I see it every day, it lives with me. It sticks with me. It's in my mind. Like you know, perfect is the enemy of done. I'm never gonna get it done. And not only that, I want to get it done. I want it to exist. Like I want it to exist,
Yeah.
and I want other
Mm.
people to experience it. So I'm gonna give that to you, Chris. That's my gift for you.
Yeah, buddy.
Thank you.
You got to put some stuff out there. What's your YouTube channel? Is it Popcorn Finance?
It is. It's looking real
Yeah.
bleak right now. A little
Because I
old, but
know
it's all
That's
good.
all
people,
right. That's all right.
I think that you have like, yeah, I think that you definitely need to be creating more content. And I also feel like, I what was I gonna say? If you go to anyone's you like any big YouTube personality, like if you go to their first videos, they're always
Oh my
hilarious and
gosh,
Mm.
terrible.
horrible, terrible.
And also like at the time you may think it looks good, but like, you 5 years in the future. But I just feel like setting that regular cadence, you have to be creating some content to get out there.
Yes.
And one thing that helps me when it comes to over analyzing some things is using like a chat GPT.
Mm.
Or I also have this AI tool called Jasper, which is more for like marketing stuff.
Yep.
And they can help me just get something on the page, in terms of like if it's captions, or if it's like an idea for an email, or like you said, a script, Chris. Like you could put in like a blog post that you've written, or a article that you've written, or whatever, and then say, could you help me come up with like a quick script for a YouTube video based on this? Or and like it can help you. I don't know. It really, I don't want to be like, we're gonna, fall in love with robots and all that, but it is like having kind of a thought partner there. It can help you like get over that hump.
Yep.
I mean, that's true. I mean, because the hardest part is that like starting from something blank, right? Like you open up
Yeah.
that note on your phone or a document on your computer and you look at it, it's just completely nothing there. And you're like,
Don't
I
do
gotta
that.
fill this
Open
with
up
something good.
ChatGPT.
Yep.
Do you
That's true.
use it? Am I like telling you something you already know? Or
I do it from time to time, but then
yeah.
I feel guilty. I'm like, no, I should have done this from scratch. But you're right. Like it's like I'm not having it do the whole thing. I'm just getting some ideas, getting something to get me
That's
going. But
interesting. So you
yeah,
feel like you should do it from scratch, like if you don't suffer and you don't like really like.
yes.
I feel that way about my book for sure.
Mm.
Oh, for sure.
We
Oh
ain't
yeah,
using no
yeah.
Chat GPT over here for that.
I wish I had GPT when I was Chat GPT when I was writing my book. There were some parts in my book where, like, there's gonna be parts where naturally, obviously, you're gonna get stuck. But
Mm,
and the thing to me about it is, if you have integrity, you obviously care that you wrote it. But
Yeah.
the way I like to use it is to just get ideas going.
yes.
It's not to say write this for me. It's to say I have this idea that I'm thinking, and I'm gonna explain it to you, and then I want you to like break it down a little bit more, hash it out a little bit more. And
Mm.
then I'll be like, oh, I'll read it. And I'll be like, oh, that gets me thinking about this other thing. That's going to be so good. And then I'll
Mm-hmm.
go back
It's
to
a really good
writing.
thought
So
partner.
Yeah.
exactly. To me, it's more so like just throwing ideas at the wall. It's not necessarily having the robot do the typing for you. And I do think that
Mm.
that's the problem when people think of it. They think of it as like it's going to do it for me,
Like
and then
you're
I'm
gonna
not doing
copy
the work.
paste and be
Right.
done.
It's like we not
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it's like this is not a college paper where you're trying to hit a certain number of word count and you're just trying to do whatever. Like this is a project that you really care about, and sometimes you just get stuck. And so if you could just
Yeah.
get some ideas going to get you to the next thing that
Mm.
strikes inspiration, that's kind of how I've been using it. But when I'm looking for information, I'm obsessed with perplexity.ai right now. So if
Same.
I'm looking for information
Mm.
or research, I do not go to ChatGPT. I do not even go to Google anymore. I go
Mm.
to perplexity.ai. I
I don't
really,
know
really
about
love it.
this.
Oh, this is
Ooh,
my gift to you, Mandy. Boom, here we go.
give it to me.
So perplexity.ai, you can just type it into the web browser search bar, and it's instead of like pushing sponsored posts, kind of like how Google Chrome does, or like how Google results will pop up. Instead, it'll give you the source of all the information that it's pulling and immediately give you like the information. The other thing
Mm.
too is ChatGPT will sometimes just make shit up, like
It
just,
really will.
hey,
Really?
this is, and it's like not a real study, or that's not true.
Remember
And
when we tried to use ChatGPT for the Q&A trivia at the Brown Ambition live show, and it would
It
just give
was
me
so
wrong
bad.
answers
it
for
does
like
that.
famous
It
black
does.
celebrities from the 90s and all kinds of stuff. It was
It just
nonsense.
it makes things up. So for me, if I want idea generation, if I want creativity kind of stuff, I'll go to ChatGPT. Like, hey, thoughts, ideas. Like, I want to come up with an acronym, and I want it to rhyme with this and stuff like that. But if I'm looking for research, for information, for facts, I don't use ChatGPT for that. I use Perplexity.ai for that.
Yeah,
Mm.
that
Okay,
that is the
sweet.
best search engine I've used. It's like I guess that's where I'm using AI because yeah, that's because Google was frustrating me. It's always it's I'm like unless I type Reddit in my search, I'm not getting a good answer most of the time.
Which is so sad, right? That you got to go sift through Reddit to try to find something of quality. Like that's wild to me. I feel like one thing too is that we don't notice that we're at the like inflection point. We're like at the brink of something major. It's about to shift of like
Mm.
how much more
Mm.
powerful AI is about to
Oh
get.
yeah.
Like we think ChatGPT is so impressive.
Dang,
This
haven't
is
we been there forever now?
girl,
Like,
no, girl, it's
what's
about no.
coming?
Think
Tell
about
me.
it. Like 2 Christmases ago, I remember being, or Thanksgivings ago, 2 Thanksgivings ago, we were with my family for Thanksgiving, and Jamil, my boyfriend, was telling my family about ChatGPT, and they like couldn't imagine it. Like he was
Couldn't
like
fathom, yeah.
explaining, yeah, he was explaining it to them, and then we did an example with my little nephew. We put my nephew's name in, and we had to write a poem about him. They weren't really impressed by that because they couldn't really see what it had the potential to do.
Mm.
Just 2 years ago, right now. This is like the baby version. This is the iteration. It's just started to learn how to crawl.
Mm,
Wait till it learns to speed run faster than a cheetah. Like this thing is about to
yeah.
take off, and I feel like we don't. I think people are not ready for it. So I've been trying to kind of be 10 toes down, like try to get in there and find out what are all the AI tools, like when I'm doing video editing stuff, I'll use Descript, which allows
Mm.
you to just like erase a sentence and it will do the edit in the video for you. So you don't have to necessarily edit. It also puts captions on videos. It's really great. And I've also been playing around with in you I mean you have to be like in a Discord chat for this, but there's one that you can get images. Oh, and of course I'm blanking on the name of it now.
Is it
uh
Dolly?
no, it's not Dolly. Oh, it'll come to me. But anyway, you're
Mm.
in a chat Discord, and you'll go on here and it'll create images based off any description that you put in. So sometimes
Mm.
when I'm making like I actually
Yeah,
Chris and I
Canva does that now too.
yes, Canva does it, not
Mm.
in I don't think at the quality, but
Yeah, it's pretty not great.
Chris and I we did a project for a company, and we were both in LA to do a film shoot. We had to edit TikToks for this company that we recorded content for, and for all of those videos that I was editing, I just went into this spot and was like, I need an image of a room that looks like an office, but it's green and it's got like money and it's got books, and like, and it would create that, and then I would use that as my backdrop, as the room that I was in.
Mm.
It would just create spaces. It creates people. I can be like, I want a hand holding a $10 bill above the sidewalk, zoomed in real close, and it'll do it. And then I'm like, the good thing about it is if I'm creating content, sometimes I have to be careful about like the images that I use, if they're copywritten and
Yeah.
issues. But with this, I didn't
Yeah.
have to worry about that. So these I'm just trying to
Wait, so
kind
what's
of
the
be
name
up
of it?
on
You
the
got to
tool.
Google it while we're
I have
talking.
to.
Oh, is
No,
it
I
Mid
have to.
Journey?
Mid
There we
Journey.
go.
There
I
we go.
was the news gonna pop back up here.
You
Yeah,
guys are
bam.
such techies. No, I love that. Also because I like to make money and I'm not traditionally employed. None of us
She
is. None
connected.
of
That's I
us.
like to make
Yeah, I
money.
really do. One thing you should know about me, Mandy Money, is that I like it. I'm not always great at it, but I do enjoy it. And by the way, Chris, I've made over $1,000 since yesterday because I just did a thing and put the challenge up and started to
Look
offer
at
it.
you.
So
Mm.
you know what?
Hell,
And I'm perfecting it as I go. And
yes.
anyway, I'm just saying.
I
So
gotta get
make
on
your
it.
little YouTube video, sir.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
and
another
I
thing too
wasn't
that I
gonna
feel like
charge. Nikayla told me to charge. She was like,
good.
I
Good. Why
wasn't gonna,
not?
and I was like, wait, why am I not? It's so funny.
Yeah, why not?
Mm.
But
But
that's why,
AI,
Mandy, when people talk about, oh, build the thing and put it out there,
yeah.
it reminds me of the conversation around integrity and plagiarism, right? Like we
Mm.
feel like we can't do this thing. As I started to like connect with more people at FinCon and other creator conferences and like see what other people are doing, they all doing this. They are all selling something that doesn't exist yet, and then they're
Mm,
building it and like, but at least they are putting it out there to see if there's interest. And an
that
example of
part.
this was back when Tesla was like putting cars up on the website and telling people to like pre-buy it and
Yeah.
pre-order them when the cars didn't
Give
even
us
exist yet.
give them
Yeah.
$1,000 for a spot in line.
Right. And it's like, first of
Yes.
all, the thing doesn't even exist yet. And people were paying $20,000, $30,000 to hold a spot to get access to a vehicle that was not in existence yet. And so why don't we feel that we can do these things? Like, so to me, I feel like
Mhm.
we hold ourselves back by saying, like, oh no, but I have too much integrity and I have too much this and that. It's like, no, as long as the product is coming and you do a really bang up damn job and you deliver and you work your ass off. Like, I don't see why we kind of keep ourselves in a box of like, oh, doing everything the cookie cutter perfect traditional way.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm
Mhm.
trying to step outside the box in 2025 a little bit more in that way.
Well, in the AI conversation, because I want to get back to that because workers are beginning to, we've seen this in Hollywood. We've seen this like dock worker strike that's coming up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There are like people are worried about AI taking their jobs. And I think
Facts.
it's completely valid. I think you should have been worried a year or two ago. And now
Right.
you for sure should be worried.
100%.
And I, as a career coach myself, I'm trying to encourage like women, find out who's coming for your job, find out what bot wants to do what you're doing and get really good at it. Because the thing that I'm sure about is like companies are going to need people who know how to control the bots. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So if you can learn it and like go and not get, it's the same I kind of felt back in when I was studying journalism during the Great Recession and like social media was becoming a thing, and a lot
Yep.
of my older colleagues would be like, I'm not getting a Twitter, you know, and to their own detriment, right? Because now social media, like, or eventually it became a whole job, and I'm sure now
Hmm.
the
yeah.
bots are coming for social media people. But
Right.
how do you guys feel about like leveraging AI, excuse me, in your career, and like the perspective from workers who are maybe feeling like, oh damn, what's
Ooh,
I,
happening?
I agree with you. I feel like you can't fear that it's going to come for your job and that you're going to lose everything and let that like trap you, almost like you're just going to be trapped, right? And it's going to fester and it's negative. And the only positive spin on this is, well, I guess we could argue about universal basic income, but we're not going
mm,
there. We're going to stick to the way you can positively spin it is to say, let me learn what what prompting looks like, or how to prompt correctly, or how to use the right tools, or what are the top premier tools for AI in this specific job that I'm doing. Because then you become the go-to person for your company, and then when they're doing layoffs, you're not the one that's going to get laid off. And I know it sucks to think like that, because then it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, but then what about all my friends at work who they're losing their jobs? At the end of the day, like, this is a capitalistic country,
I will
and the
blame.
people,
mm,
Mm-hmm. Say
it
it
like
again.
we are all compromised under capitalism, and at the end of the day, the companies are going to do what they got to do for their bottom line. And so if you want to continue to have value and know your value and create your, keep creating more value from yourself as an employee and as a worker, as an entrepreneur, you sort of have to embrace AI and start to figure out what are the leading tools, the leading applications, and learn the basics. Because at the end of the day, like, resisting is exactly what you said. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like social media. You be like, I'm not going to get on there. And now you're like, dang, I should have got on there
Yeah.
back 10 years ago. Yeah, you should have.
I think the people who know how to do the work already, like Chris, you have so much knowledge, Yanely, we have knowledge, we have so much value to add. And when we leverage these tools, we're only going to get better at what we do.
Right.
I
Just
really do. And it's
compound.
just going to help us scale and grow. I think the people who don't have the value and they're expecting the bots to create the knowledge base and
mm,
and the experience and the nuance, like, good luck. It's like Tiff always said, like, sauce sold separately. You have your own
Yes.
sauce, you have your own, your own
Yes.
sparkle, your own expertise. And I think you have to like have a lot of, I'm talking to you, Chris, because I need you to like build your confidence up. But yeah, like stand 10 toes down in that. And like, yeah, I have this knowledge base and I know how to work with these bots because I know things better than they do, but they're going to help me
Right.
come up with like a little outline real quick. And that's fine.
Yep.
ooh,
It's fine. But 61% of large companies this year plan to use AI to automate tasks that were once done by humans.
Boom.
Just saw this stat from my Robinhood Snacks newsletter. I love them. Yeah, I've got the SAG, like a what's it called? Screen Actors Guild
mm.
Yep.
striking video games and like
Yep. Yep.
all kinds of stuff. What's
And
the
like
Fed up to,
the
Chris?
they're what's the
Just real quick
wait,
for
Chris,
20.
before you talk about the Fed,
Wait, oh
the
yeah,
one,
okay.
Yeah.
well, I was gonna say real quick before you talk about the Fed, is not only to Mandy's point about how it's okay to do this. It's not that it's okay. It's that it's working smarter, not working harder. And at the end of the
Mm,
day, like, you want to give yourself more of an opportunity to thrive and to be successful and like to do really well and to
Mm,
help more people and to use your time more efficiently. And so sitting down for 3 hours to work on something from scratch just to give yourself the pride of saying I wrote it from scratch
mm,
isn't the most efficient use of those 3 hours to serve your
nope.
community and your
true.
listeners and all that. So think of it that way. It's more so like of a mindset shift that like you have to work smarter, not harder, but not losing your
Yeah.
integrity, of course, at the same time. But tell us about the
Mm,
Fed.
well, yeah. Oh. I know
Very shortly and briefly and like not too deep.
the briefest explanation would be so they've had a few meetings recently. They're raising interest rates, right? So they did another quarter point
Why did
interest
your
rate
voice get more
increase.
nasally when you started talking about it?
So technically, let me push my
Giving
glasses up here.
Urkel.
So
Yeah,
actually,
push your
when we're
glasses
looking
up.
at what the Fed's doing, no, so basically they're kind of taking things slow now, right? Like the
Okay.
economy, it's this weird thing, right? Because I think as regular people, it doesn't feel like the economy is great, but for
Nope.
corporations and the money they're making, everything's going great. They're
Real
doing
great.
fine.
Yeah.
Everything's looking as it should.
Eggs are still
Uh,
10 bucks a carton.
right?
Mm.
I just ordered some eggs last night. I got to go get. Yeah, it's expensive, and so it looks like things are kind of settling, but inflation isn't kind of going down at this pace that it kind of was before. It's starting to settle down, and it's looking like it's kind of like at a holding point. So what it's looking like in 2025, the Federal Reserve is probably going to still lower interest rates a little bit. They're looking at maybe like 0.5% over the whole year is what might be happening, but they're going to do it very slowly and deliberately. But it all depends, we got some changes coming to the White House. We got a lot of
Mm.
weird stuff going on. So right
I've
now,
disassociated from
right,
January 20th.
I don't think about
Girl.
it.
The same way I'm trying to think about it being January 6th today. Just disassociate
Right.
for my
Yeah,
own mental
just
health. But you're right.
yeah. So yeah, it's
I'm looking at mortgage rates this year. I don't think I feel like the vibe is we're not going back to like those 2% rates like I have
no,
from the pandemic.
Yeah,
But
but
like I need to
you
get out of
stay
this
right
tiny
there.
house.
but
So
No,
that
no,
that was
no. You stay in that tiny house, girl, because you ain't gonna
you
get that
think so?
2%. I
no.
mean,
You
for a
think I
little while
should?
longer, because at the end of the day, like I was talking to this woman who lives out in California, so slightly different real estate market out there. But the one single reason why she was able to retire early is because she never upgraded her home, no matter
Mm,
how much pressure she felt. Now,
Yeah,
granted,
you're so
granted,
right.
she
You're
only
so
had one
right.
kid. She only had one kid, and a lot of
Should
her
never
friends
have
had
had that second. No, I'm
multiple.
kidding. I loved
A
him.
lot of people had multiple kids, and that's a valid, legit thing. But we had a conversation on the phone, and she was like, "Girl, let me tell you, the only reason right now that I'm not working and I'm okay is because we didn't fall to that pressure of like increase. We could
Mhm.
always do it later, but the more you push
yeah.
it off, the better. And it's a huge piece of your wealth building ability.
You're so right. We get so much pressure from friends, from my family. They
That part.
complain. I'm just like, when did we stop being grateful for this home that we have? Like,
Right.
when? You're right, Yanely. And it's that mindset that is why my finances have been, like
Girl, don't
messed
listen
up.
to them.
And it's
Don't let
like
them get
I
to
I
you.
lost track of I was so good about keeping lifestyle inflation at bay when we got two cars now. I said I would never have a two-car household, and one of them is not paid off,
Ooh,
and I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
see?
I don't like who I am.
And now you're talking about getting a bigger house. Ooh, who is
Don't
this
I
do it.
man?
know.
Who
Don't
is
do
With
this
it.
what
man?
money? Yes, it's so true. And I want to have more kids. Make it make sense.
Girl,
Mm,
I don't have a
it's the
winning
emotion,
lottery ticket.
it's
What
the
am I
emotional
doing?
stuff, it's the emotional stuff. And
It's
it's
the
for
hormones.
me, I constantly try to push myself back to like rational decision making. Don't let Is it the emotions trying to make this decision, or is it going to be my rational brain making the decision? Because of
Hmm.
course, like in my mind, I could go do this, this, and that. It's like, but why would I do that? Like I'm literally setting myself back financially just to stunt on them or to be able to make my family happy instead of making myself happy. And so just what you're supposed to be doing and what you have, in you
I
to
needed to
do.
hear that.
yeah.
Yes,
And
girl.
and everybody, family, friends, they love spending your money for you. They love telling you what you should
Really
be
and
doing is going to
truly.
cost you more money. And they're not going to come and help you out after you've spent that money. They're just
Hmm.
like, oh well, just make some do something else.
Yeah.
Save a little bit better, spend less money. Like, no, no, no. I was in a better
Mhm.
spot before I took your advice. Why'd you do this to me?
That part. That part.
And they don't, and also taking advice from people or like looking to other people to see what they're doing. I was even talking to an entrepreneur today who was saying how a friend told her she's making all her money from affiliate revenue. And so she wants to like pivot to affiliate. And I'm like, well, maybe that's true, but also that's pretty financially risky because all
Volatile.
of her eggs in
Hmm.
that one basket, very volatile.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. And getting a bigger house, like it would be happier in some ways, but it also creates more pressure
Exactly.
financially. Then you got to keep it up. Then it's
Yep.
even more pressure on me as a business owner to make the money to keep it up. And yeah,
Yep.
thank you, Yaneli. I needed that little.
I'm just giving gifts all left and right
I know,
today.
right? You know
Well,
what?
also you are one, so
Oh, thank you.
you know the love is real. Okay, well, let's do brown boost, brown break. So just to
Sure.
remind y'all, BA fam, brown boost is something that I kind of ask that we reflect on something that we like really are excited about. It could be a new AI tool that's saving our lives. Could be the fact that we crossed over the $1 million net worth mark, even though we're
Mhm.
going to keep it private. You don't have to say it here. Or a brown break, which is like if you're feeling like God, I'm so sick of this. It's something that is driving you nuts, something you think we need to know about, to be aware of. Like I'm gonna open the floor to you guys if you have a boost or a break, and if not, I'll make myself the guinea pig.
I'll
Ooh.
start. So we don't
Don't be
own a
shy
home.
now.
I'm gonna jump right on in. I'm gonna jump right on in. Okay, now this is not sponsored in any way. I do not get paid by these people, at least not yet. Maybe one day. But we don't own a home. Jamil and I, my partner, we've been together for a very long time, and we're very happy, long term relationship. We're healthy. We just don't necessarily see ourselves as homeowners in that
Mm.
lifestyle. We really love like apartment complex living where we can go outside by the shared amenities and see other people and be like, hey neighbor, what's up? And like there's always people out and around. So we like the condo apartment type of lifestyle. But we also don't want to own a condo apartment in Miami because HOAs are insane. So we just like, you know what, home ownership's not for right now. And but the money, like it's so annoying that we spend thousands of dollars every month on rent, and it's just like it just goes into thin air to this landlord,
Mm.
right, or to this development company. So we got the Built Rewards credit card a little bit before the end of the year last year, and we've been putting our rent on that. And let me tell you, if you pay rent and you're not getting miles or rewards points or some type of credit for your point for paying your rent, look into some of these. I have the Built one. There's others, but
Built like
it's just
BILT.
BILT. Yeah, Built Rewards credit card. We use it to pay
Okay,
the
excuse
rent.
me.
And some the big concern I had was a lot of times the companies will charge you like 2 or 3% fee for using a credit card to pay rent.
Yeah, yeah.
They have figured out a hack for that. So when I log into the credit card portal, it actually shows a bank account digits. So I copy them from there, enter it into my rent payment portal, and acts like ACH, account clearinghouse. So it
Ah,
basically acts like
okay.
it's transferring the money to an account, but it charges it to the credit card. So
So how do they make
whatever
money?
whatever backdoor magic they're doing, it essentially acts as a credit card transaction, but they're using I think they're partnering with Wells Fargo Bank to do this, but they basically use the bank as a way to clear the money, and then it counts
Mm.
as a credit card charge. So we've already gotten to like silver status in their little levels of status thing just from paying like 4 or 5 months of rent with that card instead of our bank account, which when we pay with our bank account, we don't get any points. So we're gonna take a free trip this year because of the points on this card. So
Mm.
that is my
Damn.
little brown boost.
Why is this making me nervous though? What's the pitfall? I'm
No,
a
the
negative
pitfall is
Nancy.
the pitfall is if you don't pay it on time. Now you're paying all the interest fees on the credit card,
Oh,
but
okay, so it is like a
Mm.
credit card with fees. Okay, okay, gotcha,
yeah, it's the
gotcha.
same exact
Mm.
arrangement. It's just that you're able to use the card. If you don't pay any interest fees and you pay on time all the time, it's the same exact thing as if you paid your
Yeah.
rent from your bank account, but you just
Please
got to
don't
be
put
on
your
top of it. So,
please don't
I
go into
have
credit card debt for your rent because your rent you can't be
no,
playing with that rent, y'all. You
do
gotta play. You gotta
not,
you
do
gotta
not.
live somewhere.
Do not do that, because then not only is your rent paid, so they're good, but now your credit is horrible. So if you ever choose to go to
Mhm.
Mm.
another apartment, you're not going to be able to go. So definitely only do this if you're the type of person who always pays it on time every month. But if you're paying your rent on time every month out your bank account, then all
Mhm.
you're doing is putting one extra step in the middle and paying the card instead of the rent, and having the rent be paid through the card. So it's just one extra step and you get rewards points for it. So in my mind, it makes a lot of sense. But if you can't trust yourself and you're gonna go spend that rent money instead of paying the card, then stay away.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
Oh, yeah, that was good. I've heard a lot of good things about that card. I don't know why I never even tried it, but I think the only thing I heard is that they are bleeding money because obviously they're giving
Ooh,
a lot of points and they're not
yeah.
really
Yeah.
making any money back from you on it. But hey, while they're
Get
giving
in
out
while
free
you can,
points,
y'all,
take it.
before
Get
they
in
go out
while
of
you can.
business.
You heard it from here. You heard it from me now.
Isn't
Get it
it
now.
sad how something that's so good for consumers is like you're gonna go out of business?
I know. No,
Capitalism.
I think they're probably going to start lowering those points and rewards things, and maybe making it like a new customer offer soon, so that you don't get grandfathered into those. But the point is, the
Yeah.
earlier you get in and benefit from it, it's just like any other rewards card. Try and get the benefits you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right, Chris, what's up? What you got?
Oh, okay. So for me, my boost is I'm moving to San Francisco. Yeah, Nelly was talking about
Ah!
this about her
Whoop,
almost
whoop.
moving there. Yeah, I've been thinking about this for a couple of years now. I've always loved the city. I live in the LA area, so I'm like just a little bit outside of LA. I don't live in LA proper because I'm not trying to be in all that traffic. But
And all that money.
yeah, paying all that traffic and money, I don't need all that. So I decided to move to an even more expensive city. But I've been thinking about it for a while because LA is it's cars
2 years is
all day.
too long to think about. I'm glad you're finally just doing it.
I
This
Damn.
is how,
know, that's a
this is
long
what I do.
time.
I
Overthink.
overthink things. This is what I do. I'm gonna sit
Just
here and think
go.
about something for years, and then
Oh
like,
my.
Yeah.
and I might not even do it after thinking about it.
Oh my goodness. I got to make a decision this month. Like I can be playing with those year-long decisions. That's a
Oh no,
long
I was sitting,
time.
I was mulling that thing over. I would go up, got friends up there, so I would go every, I'll probably go 3, 4, 5 times a year up there and visit. And this past year, or 2024 now, I went for two like extended trips. I was there for
Yeah.
3 weeks, and I did a 6 week little trip up there. And I was like, let me just see, am I gonna
SF
regret
is like
this?
put a ring on it. Damn.
Right. It's like,
What do
what
I
are we
gotta
doing here?
do?
What are we, Chris? What is this? What are we doing here? Are you coming? Are you gonna stay? What
I had commitment issues with the city. I was like, I just don't want to make the wrong decision. What if
Well,
LA was
yeah,
really the right one?
just like
Then
me.
go
But
back. It's right there. It's not
I
gonna be off the map.
I know. But I wanted to just check because like all my family's here. I have a niece. My niece, she's 3 years old. I
Oh,
love being around her, and that was probably the hardest part. Like her, my brother,
oh,
and my sister in law. I love hanging out with them. My
Yeah.
parents are getting older, so I was like, do I want to leave this area? A place I've lived in Southern California my whole life, born and raised out here. But I was drawn to San Francisco. I love the weather. I like being able to walk and take public transportation. It's just like it was a good time. So
yeah.
I finally said I'm gonna do it. And actually, as we're recording this, I'm about a week out from the official
What?
move up. So
So excited for
Congratulations.
you,
That is
bud.
so exciting. I love a fresh new and fresh new year, fresh new move. You got all
yeah,
this fresh new energy. I love that.
And you got a new San Francisco girlfriend too, right?
yeah, that's where
She's
look.
waiting on you.
I had to tell my friends, I was
D,
like, I
her
was
name was
planning to
D.
move before I met her. I'm not moving
No,
just
you were,
for
but
that.
Uh,
I think that's so beautiful. And I mean, listen, like you're doing something really courageous. You know, you ended a long, long marriage and like you went through that grieving process. You got into therapy. Like I gave you a lot of shit because I love you. But I just think I just want to give you some flowers, buddy. And also, it's exciting. It's like it's never too late to just like choose to start a brand new effing chapter. Get up and
Facts.
move,
Yes.
and do it for yourself.
Yep.
Because, yes, your niece and yes, your parents, but also what about Chris? Like,
Yeah.
what about the life that you deserve to have?
I love that.
Look
That's
the
so
way that you
true.
want it to look.
Yes. And
I-
just like you went to SF 5 times last year, you can go to LA 5 times and live in SF.
it's
Yeah.
Just
true.
flip. All you're doing is
Disposable
flipping and reversing.
income,
You
buddy.
just doing a
Disposable
flip and reverse.
income.
Yes. You just reversing it. You're not like erasing it from your life. You're just saying, oh, I want the ratio to be reversed. I want to be there more and here when I want. And you can always go.
That's true. Look, I appreciate all this. Like, see all those good words. I'm feeling all this energy because even Mandy, look, to make Mandy feel bad again because was insulting me a lot at the beginning. She was so
You make it
like
easy so I
supportive
don't understand
as
the
when I was,
problem.
yeah,
Oh,
Mandy, you've been hating on me and
It's
being so
fine.
mean to me,
Well,
but
it's
you were
just
also
very easy.
you were so supportive, so kind. We talked
oh,
about this a
thanks.
few times. Mandy came down to LA and we went on a hike where we almost fell. Well, I feel like I almost fell off the edge a couple of times,
Yeah, it was
but
tough.
you you sharing your
You and your
story.
sweat glands do not belong in LA. You need to be in some temperate climates,
I
buddy.
was sweating. Let me tell you,
Oh, my.
Disgusting.
sweating like I jumped
Get
in
a
a
Oh,
D
pool
from
by the
that.
time that was
Blech.
over. But yeah,
yeah.
Mandy was so supportive. She shared so many stories about you. I feel like you have no problem being courageous and stepping out there and trying new things. And I'm the exact
Mm,
opposite. I'm like, hold up, let me make a spreadsheet and let me weigh the options
I'm
about
getting that.
what's about to
Yes.
happen.
We see that. We see that now.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm excited. Thank you for the encouragement. I appreciate it. I'm really excited for this next phase here.
We can't wait to visit. Give
Oh
me a
yeah, for
reason to get
sure.
to
SF would be
SF.
fun.
You and my girl
Yes,
Burn
there's so
out
many
there.
great people. Yes, I was about to say burners out there.
Yes.
There's a lot of good people in SF. It can be like a good little tech hub spot.
Look at us in each corner of the country.
I know, covering all the
Right.
bases. Like,
Yeah. Well, Eastman. Yeah. Oh, well, this was so fun. First episode of Brown Ambition for the year. I can't believe it.
mm,
I feel the need to be like, Tiffany, I love you, I miss you. But
Yeah.
yeah, Nelly and Chris, I can't thank you so much. This has been, I really look forward to it. And I was worried I wasn't going to have that same level of like giddy, ooh, I get to go talk to my friend. But still provide value to the audience. And I hope BA fam, you feel like we really poured into you, gave you some great tips. For the new year, got you off to a good start. Yeah, Nelly and Chris, thank you so much. So Chris, you're at Popcorn Finance everywhere. Yanely, you're at MissBeHelpful everywhere. We're gonna put your social handles in the show notes, so everyone go follow and check out their work. And I think I just snuck away without doing a brown booster break on my own.
oh
But
Right.
I'm gonna do
yeah,
a quick. I'm
yeah.
gonna
Mandy,
do a
you
quick
slick.
one.
You slick, Mandy. Where's your
Just
brown
real quick,
boost?
quick. I actually did just become an affiliate partner and I chased them down because I love this AI tool so much. It's called Teal,
Mm,
TEAL. It's a AI resume and I love this LinkedIn profile tool that and it actually has so much more than just that, but it'll help you like take it drives me nuts when people don't apply for a job because their resume isn't perfect.
Yep.
I
mm.
feel like that's you, Chris, but like
It sounds
overthinking
like
it,
me.
but it's not as good as it could be, blah, blah, blah. And then they spend hours or hundreds of dollars like hiring someone to do it for them. Now, this is like, I'm like, yes, because I hate editing resumes. I don't spend time on it. I believe in personal connections. But if you're going to do it, use a tool like Teal. They make it so simple, and I'll put a link to I'll put my affiliate link in the show notes. So y'all go support a girl. But yeah, that's my boost. Teal AI, and
Love
I
it.
hope that you guys embrace the bots. That's what we should call this episode. Embracing the bots in
Get with the
2025.
bots. Get with the
We'll
bots.
workshop that. I'll ask one of the bots for some ideas. How about that?
There you
Facts.
go.
Thank
They'll
y'all
tell
so
you
much.
embrace the bots. Thank you, Mandy. This was
Yeah,
so
thank you.
lovely. And it
Hope
was
to
so
see you
nice to
guys.
hang
We'll
with
see you
y'all.
guys again at the. You might see them again, BA
Ooh.
fam, at the